Give yourself a round of applause for being out here on the first day of the spring semester. Thank you for coming out to be a part of this celebration of Black history and Black futures. And I also want to start by acknowledging Professor Eva Rios Alvarado for producing today's event, bringing us together. First day of the spring. My name is Eugene. I'm an instructor in the Physics and Engineering department and also teach Capoeira at the Wellness Center. And I wanted to share a few words with you all today to begin our work for the spring semester. At this time, we would like to take a moment to honor, acknowledge, reflect, and express our sincere gratitude for and appreciation of the people, the ancestors, and the sacred land that we gather upon today. We want to honor the ancestral homelands and traditional territories of indigenous people who have been here since time immemorial, and to recognize that we must continue to build solidarity and kinship with Native indigenous communities. As all our liberations are tied together, and so is our history, we must acknowledge that this country was built on the illegal, transnational human trafficking and colonization of African nations and Black people. We honor the legacy of the African diaspora, of Black people in the present, past, and future. And we recognize a duty to work for social justice, racial equity, and abolition in every aspect of our work. To Mount SAC students, I want to thank you for choosing to enroll in classes this semester. The global pandemic, regional national disasters, systemic racial inequity, and the economic turmoil all pose additional challenges to our collective humanity, but specifically to the aspirational work of community college students who often face social stigma in being community college students. When I first came to Mount SAC, I heard my peers say, "Oh, you're going to Mount SAC? That's the College of Champions." And so I learned a lot about the history of Mount SAC with its championship athletics teams, performing arts, and then I came here and I learned about the forensics teams and the turf teams and the robotics teams, and there's probably a bunch of other championship teams that I'm forgetting about, so forgive me. But the job of a champion is to hold high standards. The job of a champion is to blaze path forward in the face of obstacles. And in the current moment, I see our Black students as the champions of Mount SAC. I see them leading the way forward in the face of all the systemic challenges that they encounter. And in Capoeira, we would say that they're performing a chamada, a call. Right? They're doing this work and they're looking for a response. And so I think it's up to us that serve the role of serving students, that are working on policy, that are building infrastructure to answer that call. So I'm very grateful to be here today with educators, leaders, scholars, and artists who I think can help our institution respond more appropriately. Specifically, I'm very grateful to be here today under the leadership and the founder of the Souls in Motion Capoeira Angola, Charles Willie.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have neither winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years shall find me unafraid. It matters now charged with gate, with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Invictus, which means unconquerable. So peace and blessings to everybody here. I want to give thanks to the ancestors, our foremothers and forefathers, those who were taken against their will and trafficked to all parts of the diaspora in what is known as the African Holocaust. Those that died on the boats and who were fed to the ocean to be monuments that still rest on the bottom of the Atlantic. And for those who somehow survived to be greeted by the horrors of their new unwanted conditions, where families were divided, where black bodies were used and abused, for the socioeconomic gain of a system that perceived them to be subhuman or not even human at all. However, there is a saying in some black communities, and that is, you can try to enslave our bodies and our minds, but you can never enslave our souls. In Brazil specifically, where the art of capoeira was birthed, this sentiment rings true, where the souls of Black folks desire to break free from the repressive and evil system of slavery, colonialism, and imperialism, to break free from the constant mistreatment, despair, and agony of the evils that surrounded them. In their souls were the memories of who they were originally, children of Alkebulan, Africa, with their own culture, history, language, names, customs, warrior arts, and spirituality. The desire to gain this internal knowing far succeeded the conditions that they were subjugated to on a daily basis. Through these capoeiristas' stringent determination, willpower, faith, and sacrifice, we all stand here today. Their acts of courage, valor, and willingness to do what was needed to thrive by any means necessary still inspires us today. They invented the system of capoeira for their people's survival, to uplift and empower those who felt helpless and powerless, to regain what was stolen from them, and to make sure that their connection to home will never be severed. Today, we carry on in capoeira's tradition of freedom, liberation, and resistance to any system, persons, or institutions that seek to repress, destroy, discriminate, and spread any messages of hate. We are Black history. Every day, every hour, every minute and second, we as capoeiristas work in our communities, our cities, towns, states, countries, and throughout the world on all levels to make them better through direct action and service in the pursuit of justice, equality, equity, and peace. Capoeira has always been a social justice movement, not only for Blacks, but for all people. For each and every one of us that is confronted with systems that enable poverty, sickness, human trafficking, senseless violence, and inhumane treatment being subjugated on people through each and every corner of this world. We as capoeiristas have a responsibility to heal, uplift, encourage, and empower those we meet with the vast resources that this art of capoeira has to offer. For everybody, capoeira is a universe, and all is inside of it. And we all have an opportunity to use this art to make this world a better place for anyone and everyone, for ourselves and the next generations that come after us, like our ancestors did for us. Ashe.
Good afternoon. Oh, we could do better than that. Good afternoon. All right, usually, when I'm speaking, I'm the person that has to sort of get everyone, riled up. But after coming behind these two brothers, I don't know if there's really much I can say. Let me introduce myself. My name's Clarence Banks. I'm the director of our Moja Aspire program. Moja is a Swahili word which means unity. And really that's what you're seeing here today. A unity among people recognizing something that's been very transformational, not only in Brazil, but we're talking about throughout the world. I'm also the director of our new Center for Black Cultural and Student Success. And so I'm very happy, thank you. And so I encourage all of you to come and visit us. Building 6, we're on the other side of this building, room 140, as we begin to continue on the tradition that was started so many years ago, and that is the success of Black students, not only here at Mount SAC, but also after they leave Mount SAC. One of the things I wanted to make sure that I spoke about today was that, I'm excited to be here for this program, but it's important that we recognize not just the physical, but also the mental and the spiritual aspect of what was demonstrated here today. And when we think about the road forward, we think about the path that we need to take, not only as Black people, but as an institution, Mount San Antonio College, as a region, and as a nation. We need to bring together all of those elements to be the best of ourselves, be able to drive ourselves to be better than we were yesterday. As was said earlier, it's not only about, Black history isn't only about our past and our present, but it is about our future. And the only way that we can do that is to do that together by acknowledging not only the things that we see, but digging a little deeper, because it goes beyond Brazil. It goes to Angola. It goes to the original continent. And then how do we then take those things that goes before the 16th century? How do we then make that relevant to today? How do we then internalize all the values that we saw demonstrated today? How do we then internalize that to be the best doctor, to be the best lawyer, be the best teacher, be the best student? That, I believe, is our challenge for today. So I'm very happy to be a part of this program. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everyone that came and demonstrated. And let us now, in this spirit, move forward so that we can become our best selves. Thank you very much.
Hello to all of you beautiful people. My name is Dr. Mika, and I am so excited to be here with you all today. Yes, I bring you greetings on behalf of the Ethnic Studies Department. This department has been a long time in coming, and we have some of the champions of that department's creation here with us today. Let's give a shout out to Fabian. The Ethnic Studies Department is a department in which we will celebrate things like this. We will celebrate our heritage. We will celebrate who we are and the way that we do things that's just us. You know, just us. And as I was watching the event today, I was so moved. Why? I was so impressed because I'm a very verbal person, okay? I express myself through words. So whenever I see people who are able to express themselves through movement and dance and just song, I'm always impressed. And the thing is, these expressions, they're forms of communication, right? So speaking is not the only way that we communicate. We can communicate through the movement of our bodies. And that's exactly what the people who were enslaved in Brazil were doing, right? They were communicating something. Now here's what's interesting. In the Americas, people had many stereotypes about people who were enslaved, right? Oh, they're docile, they're not very intelligent, and they just, they'll just do whatever because they don't really have any ambitions or any goals or anything like that. But the thing about stereotypes is that sometimes people, because they have them, they don't see you, right? And because they don't see you, you can be you and you can communicate you in ways that they won't even understand. And that's what was happening in these dances, these movements. So through the combination of martial arts and acrobats, the people who had enslaved these Brazilians were thinking, oh, they're just dancing and singing because, that's all the black folks do is just dance and sing. And no. They were resisting. They were practicing. They were engaging in movements for combat, for when they would be able to acquire their freedom. In the United States, when people were enslaved, they would often go into like the woods or someplace where they could sing and they could express themselves where the oppressors couldn't hear. The people in Brazil also did that. They would go into the grassy areas and they would practice so that when the combat came, they would be ready. And so for those of you here today who are students, and maybe somebody has had a stereotype about you, they thought, they can't learn. They're not very intelligent. They won't be able to be anything. Don't worry about what they say. Use what you know. Unite with your companions and resist, fight, and ultimately you can achieve your goals and you can obtain your freedom. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. After listening to all these wonderful leaders, I'm a little shy about what do I have to say besides being Brazilian and besides raised in this atmosphere that you just saw it. This is something that we do in Brazil like in a backyard all day, every day, all the time. Yes, I'm from Brazil, born and raised in Brazil. I'm Brazilian. I don't have accent whatsoever, as you can see or can hear. I teach biology here at SAC. I've been here for 16 years. And yeah, I'm representing my culture, my blackness. And seeing this and witness this just brings me so much memories, so beautiful memories. I just want to tell a little bit of history about Brazil. Brazil was discovered back in 1500 by Portuguese, and we were colonized for until 1800 something. But what is said at the same time give us the background for being who we are is because we are the only country that was colonized for the longest. We were colonized for the end of slave signed by the Princess Isabel was in 1888. That is the year that Brazil stopped slavery. So as you can see, I'm talking about 300 and something years of slavery, and everything that the brothers and sisters here said is absolutely true. But that gave us the strength of being who we are, the capacity to express ourselves through words, through songs, through dancing, through very rich culture that I'm so proud of being Brazilian and now Brazilian American. And yeah, every Friday, Professor Eugene teaches Capoeira, and I encourage each one of you guys to start to learn what this is really mean. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so I'm the last speaker. My name is Eva Rios Alvarado. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the librarians here on campus. And I'm going to be kind of closing out this event. As you notice, when we were playing, we were in a circle formation. And that's a very powerful, not only just like a shape, but it's also very symbolic for life. So I want to thank the Tongva peoples for like being alive still, right, despite colonization. And I just want to also just acknowledge them, and I want to thank Madre Tierra right now, Mother Earth, and I also want to thank all of you beautiful just people behind me. Thank you so much for all of your energy, the work that you do, for being here. To me, this is a really powerful moment. It's not every day that you can come to your job and do something that you love in your community and bring that to your job. Like, as people, I mean, I'm looking at some of my colleagues here, and as we know, it's really a fight. And so is Capoeira. It's really a resistance, and it's a liberation. And I say that because I want to talk about two things. And, you know, before we wrap this up, we end our circle. I want to talk about what does it mean to be a co-liberator, right? I'm not a black person. But what is my responsibility? And thank you to Juana Petty for sharing that word with the world. I'm not just an ally, and I want people to know that. I'm not just an ally, and I'm not just a co-conspirator. I want you to know that I am a co-liberator. That means that I have a responsibility as a non-black person to be a part of what freedom means to my black brothers and sisters and my native brothers and sisters and everybody else, right, whose culture that I benefit from. And I want you to think about that. What does it mean as maybe a non-black person or even a black person to think about liberation and freedom? And it doesn't have to be anything big, right? It could be little things. Like today, I felt like this was an example of how I could share what little I know as a student of Capoeira from my teachers. You know, viva mi maestre, viva, you know, que me enseñó. And I want us to think about that as students, right? Because we take that with us, and even as non-students. And then the last thing I want to talk about is just what are the places that you feel powerful in your life? Where is that physically? Where are the places that you feel that you can go to where you're safe and you have community? The people behind me are a physical representation and even a spiritual representation of where I feel safe, where I have benefited from the work of black and indigenous people. And I just really want to thank my teachers and thank the maestras and thank the Capoeira ancestors for that. And I'm a student I'm learning all the time. I'm no one important. I'm just a humble person. But I want you to think about that, because I want you to think of the library as that place, because I am a librarian, and I'm not saying that all libraries are going to provide freedom or comfort to you, but I want you to take that space over and know that it is yours. And anytime that I'm in that library or you see me, I am your community. And I want you to know that. And with that, thank you to all of the community. Thank you to you for being here, and thank you to the family behind me, above me, and below me. And Ashe. We can say it together. 1, 2, 3, Ashe. Thank you. Have a good day.